All right, good afternoon, everyone. Oh, I'm so sorry. We were trying to make some adjustments with the time, and Facebook will not allow us edit. I mean, we couldn't edit it on Facebook. So I am not even sure that we're on Facebook right now. Please confirm to me that you can see me and you can hear me if you are on Facebook. I'm a minute or two late because we're trying to make that adjustment, and for some reason, we're having difficulties with that. Good afternoon, everyone. Who have I got with me? Good afternoon and welcome to PTM Hangouts this Thursday afternoon. If you are here, let me know that I have got company. My name is Maribeth Chima. I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship community and PTM Resources. I am the lead coach of PTM Resources. If you are here with me, please don't just stay in the background. Let me know who you are. Let me know where you're joining us from. And of course, let me know which platform you are on. Are you watching me on YouTube or are you joining me on Facebook? Please, if you're on Facebook, I would appreciate it very much that you let me know that you are on Facebook, that you can see me and you can hear me on Facebook. If you are here right now, please, if you know someone that needs to be here, you know someone that will learn from what we are talking about here today, then hurry up and tag them on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, please hurry up and share the link with them and let them know that we are live. Please let me see you in the comments if you are with me on this live stream. Let me see you in the comments. I will just wait for a minute or two to get response, okay, and to know if you're with me. I really would like to know if you can see me on Facebook and you can hear me loud and clear. All right, it's raining cats and dog in Abuja right now. It's raining so hard, so I don't know if we even have network issues. I'm fine where I am. I hope that you can see me clearly and you can hear me clearly. Please let me know that you can see me, that you can hear me while I wait for a minute or so for those who are joining us. All right. So today we are looking at, while we're waiting for others to join us, today we're looking, I really would like to know if you can see me and you can hear me on Facebook. If you can see me or you can hear me on Facebook or wherever else you are joining me, Facebook or YouTube. All right, let me know. Let me know. Please let me know in the comments if you can see me, if you can hear me. Today we're talking about how you can prepare your preteen for the next phase of their lives. Let me know if you can see me. If you've joined me, let me know if you can see me and you can hear me, especially if you are on Facebook. I am not sure that I am on Facebook, right? And I'm not sure if we're able to stream on Facebook because we had some issues at the beginning of this stream, and that's why we even started slightly late because of that. Please let me know if you can see me. So we're looking at how you can prepare your preteen for the next phase of their lives. Now, who are preteens, right? I'm jumping right into it. If you're catching the replay, just say in the comments that you are catching the replay. If you are on YouTube, please just click on the subscription link if you haven't. Okay, click on that subscription button and subscribe to PTM on YouTube so that when we go live, you're able to join us. There are so many resources from two different conferences in that YouTube channel. There are endless the endless videos that you can glean so much knowledge from on our YouTube channel. So it's a channel that you want to subscribe to and go there for a lot of learning in your parenting journey. If you're on Facebook, then invite your friend. Tell your neighbor to tell their friend, to tell their village member that we are live and It is that time where we talk about relevant issues in your parenting. All right. If you're here, don't be in the background. Let me know that I've got company. Let me know that you are with me. All right. So we're looking at the next phase after your preteens, the next phase in their life. What's the next phase after being a preteen? The next phase in their life is that's wonderful, amazing, and that phase that we all know as the teenage phase. The last phase before you officially bow out as a parent, right? The last phase of your official parenting journey. We all know that as a parent. Hi, Christabel. Hi, Mola. Thank you for joining me. Please let me know if you're watching on Facebook, if you can hear me and you can see me clearly, because we had some issues with Facebook at the beginning. All right, so we all know that when we parent, we're parenting officially for about 18 years, isn't it? So 18 years is the official parenting age. After that, you become what we call a consultant, right? Because at this point, the child has formed their own individuality. The child is rolling on all. Good afternoon. Your mic is not working. Hey, what's going on? My mic is not working, so you can't hear me. Please, I need to be sure what this is about. Please, if you can hear me, let me know that you can hear me. Someone says my mic is not working. I don't know what that, please, is there anyone who can hear me so we're sure if it's from here or from somewhere else? Please let me know. Someone said my mic is not working. If you're watching me on Facebook, is my mic working? If you're watching me on YouTube, is my mic working? Hello, Mentor. Good afternoon, everyone. Your mic is not working. Loud and clear. Okay. So someone says they can hear me loud and clear. So if this person can hear me loud and clear, then maybe you need to. Okay, I can hear you now. Thank you very much. Thank you for that feedback. I really appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you for joining me from Jos. Thank you. Omola, go on, man. Thank you very much. All right, so that phase, officially, you are no more parenting, like officially, because at this point, your child has formed their own identity. They can make decisions for themselves and all of that. So at this point, they will be deciding whether to take your advice or whatever you're saying to them or not to. After they are 18. At this point, to an extent, the child is probably independent and not even dependent on you, to a huge extent. I mean, it's even getting closer these days. As we grow older, it's getting closer. More children will be independent financially from us by the time they are 18. So your child does not need you financially. Your child can take decisions on their own. Your child has his own job or his own business. Your child is doing all of this and making decisions on their own. At what point do you come and say to them, you need to go and sleep at 10 p.m. or at 9 p.m.? At what point do you say to them, you have to come back to the house at so and so time? So at this point, you cannot, instruct them directly that way anymore. They are no more children. Officially, they are adults. So at this point, you are only going to be a consultant, or you would have to depend on all that you've done for your children before they become teenagers. Now, we all know, for those who already have teenagers, that the teenage phase is not the easiest phase in the life of a parent. So that's what in that phase before the before your child becomes a teenager, the pre stage is between when your child is 8 and 12. Some people say 9 and 12. Your child is between a child and a, also refer to them as twins. The child stage and the teenage stage is very crucial in the life of your children, because it is what it is. That this phase is very crucial, right? Because this phase is that point where your child was depending on you. I mean, if I can put it like that. Dependent on you 100%. Where you decide what they eat, you decide all You do almost everything for them. In some, dress them up. You have people do this. I mean, your toddler is totally the phase of their lives. Now, all of a sudden, okay, the child, he crosses over from the toddler phase to the points. A lot of us as parents, toddlers, because and they're beginning to say things that are sometimes we don't win them. Shall winning from phase comes and it hits us without us moved from one phase of their life to the next. If you are not doing it, to do it for your children. So your 7 back from the nanny, getting people, of them go to the car and some from school, they get home and someone has children wake up in the morning and they go to school and he's shouting from my uniform and all of that. Now, as parents, in many cases, it wants your children to be able to do. You have chosen that your child will. It's just because you do not have that phase creeps in on you from their toddlerhood, and they get school ages, and people are still. By when our son comes here beginning of this year, welcome here. So that's why when our son at the beginning of this year, that's that children transition to to that phase where they do not transition in their phase. They continue to see that of childhood age. Now they are not toddlers is not done well in school. When they lose their stationery, that's when toddlers anymore. It's the only time that we hold. So your 7-year-old still has some case for everybody, but I work. I've been in classrooms for a whole day. I know what I am talking. I goes to school and you're asking you having or what do you have in your don't know, or you can see pairs of socks and you're like, it is what my nanny. Your 10-year-old that his shirt is and he's like, oh, I didn't, or it is what my nanny gave me. Your 10-year-old, sometimes his lunchbox looks into his again. This isn't what I told. We have our preteen of school age and our preteens responsibility and or do not take themselves. And this is usually not transition in our transition of our children from children of child, and of course, in the same way with being preteens, adolescents, then one day, boom, we wake up and our and they cannot do a skilled as teenager is a teenager birthday and all of that, yet you're no skill. And then the struggle begins. School, the teacher is complaining, this is never doing that, you're chasing, you don't read, you are chasing them for. So you stay in there, you chase them, you bring in, he can't study on his own, the lesson teacher comes in, the nanny is there to make sure he doesn't go, and you have a special arrangement in school. I'm talking life experiences. Okay, so we even have case minder or the teaching assistant special way because I never do. I know him. See, just help me help him and all. People, you're positioning people to save your child. And all of a sudden, you wake up one a 17-year-old who is on worry begins. The real worry begins. You begin to. So, what am I saying at this point? You will not have a skilled, intentional or conscious age and your preteens. Mastermind, we decided to start right from preteens at age 8 or 9, whichever one. Some say it begins at 9. We're not waiting for them. We want to start helping the need to develop skills right from. We want to start helping children right way. So what usually happens is we have, by the time our children get to the ages of, they become independent. Okay, at this stage they're building that they want to take less instruction. At this stage you realize that they want to, they tend to forget a lot because their personality is to come in the way. Their friends, and they want to also be. This is beginning to creep in, grab some sort of autonomy. Your children want to be independent. Independence that your the kind of independence that your children, where they can make decisions that makes them responsible. By the time your children become twins, independence that allows them make whether to eat rice or to eat pasta. That dress, decide whether to go with you for that gathering. They want to make all of these decisions. They also have ice cream. They want to to decide whether to have an iPad or just another tablet. They want to make all this, that they don't have to make any imputations that you have for. You're fluctuating. It's raining here. Fluctuating. Okay, that works. So can you hear me better now? Possible that maybe, see, let me just try and adjust my route. So let me see. Just adjust this router a little. Going in and out. Oh dear. Now let me try and talk a bit. Hear me now? Can you hear me? Is it still the same thing? Can you hear? It's because of the rain. It's not even just that it's possible. It's actually because of. All right, so let me just go on and see if it will be better. I just read this way. Let's see if that makes them better. Okay, let's any reason. All right then. So wants independence, right? So your children want to make decisions, but they do not want the responsibility. So this is the kind of independence preteen is going to be seeking, right? And what we try to do is okay. Try to do is we try to bring the children, or we bring the children to the consciousness. Okay, better. Thank you. So we bring children to the conscious. Are supposed to, in their independence that they get at this stage is the one that allows them to start making informed decisions, to start taking initiative, to start directing, basically. And then, of course, in that decision that they make, we are expecting and are holding them accountable for some of this, for the decisions that they make. Make a decision, you would have to fix that, please. If you make a decision, you will have to live with the consequences. You have to be responsible for the consequences of that decision, and that for every decision that you, there are consequences. So I've been talking about the mastermind. So the mastermind program that we run in the academy, okay, it's a peer accountability program that we run. So we hold the children accountable. The children set goals, and in achieving those goals, we hold them accountable. We support them. We encourage them. We become their cheerleaders, and then we help them build skills while at it. So to build skills, okay, to help them develop skills that will help them navigate the world. So let's go. The truth about it is that all the skills that our children need to navigate the world are taught at home. The skill that your child needs to navigate the world is taught at home. And these skills are taught right from when your children are. These skills right from when your children, or you begin to initiate these skills, okay, and create habits that will help your children learn these skills right from when they are toddlers. Now, by the time they become preteens, in this session, we are considering preteens as kids from age 7 to 13. That is our scope, okay? So from the age of 7 to 13, this is the point you need to grind in as many skills as possible that they need to navigate the world. The ages between when your children are preteens, okay, when your children are preteens or tweens, the phase where your children need to learn the skills that will help them navigate the world when they are adults. So you are not raising a child, you are raising that child for the adult that the child will become. So technically, you are raising them to become an adult. You're raising an adult, basically. Children for the adults that they will become. So as a parent, at every point, you must be thinking in terms of 30 years. So at the point where you have your child, when your child is born, you are who is the 30-year-old that I want to raise this child to become? I did not say to be. I want to raise this child to become. Who is that 30 about it? Who is the 30-year-old that I am raising this child to become? As a parent, your eyes must be fixed on that scope. 30 years. Who is the 30 years that I'm raising my child to become in 30 years' time? What sort of person do I want this child to be? Or what sort of human being do I want to give to the world in this child? Is without knowing it, unintentionally, okay, a lot of us as parents, especially African parents, are thinking in that knowing it. But what we're thinking is actually the issue. Because what we think about when we think of that 30-year-old that our children will become is just simple. Oh, what is the job that our child is going to get in 30 years' time? What kind of wife is he going to get in 30 years' time? What husband will he have in 30 years' time? So somehow we've been able to streamline all that we think about when we think about our children to the jobs, the education, and then the wife or husband that they will get, basically. Now, we're not looking at life from a general point. So how we should be looking at life generally is more than the adults that I'm raising. I mean, more than the adults that more than the adult that I have been called to raise this child to be. Am I raising this child to be? Because when you're thinking of what kind of human being am I raising this child to become? What kind of person of impact? What kind of person of value am I raising this child to become? What kind of person that thrives am I raising this child to become? Now, when you recognize that, you are not just raising your child to become an adult, you are raising your child to be a wholesome human being. You are raising a child that will thrive at every point of their lives. So yes, parents, your first task is to help skills that will help them thrive, okay, at every level that they find themselves. But your ultimate goal is to raise them to become this kind of a certain kind of human being that you're raising your child to be. More than that, you're raising them to be a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot, a whatever. You're raising them to have a wife and have is your child going to be to that woman? What kind of human being is your child going to be to that man that they will marry? What kind of human being is your child going to be to that child or those children? Is your child going to be to the people that they will meet in the course of their life? What kind of human being would your child be in the society? So more than raising them to be a certain kind of adult, what kind of human being are you raising them to be? But remember that we were created to thrive, to be wholesome, to thrive at every level of our lives. So raising your preteen, you are raising your preteens to thrive. So at every point in your children's life, are your children living their full potential? Is your child living to the best of their ability? When you do this, then it means that you are raising a child who can thrive right where they are. And of course, you are raising the child to become an adult in 30 years' time that will impact their families, society, homes, and anywhere they find themselves. So what's the human being that you are raising? What kind of human being are you raising? You're raising this human being. How are you raising them to thrive? Okay, if you are going to raise a human being who thrives, then you are going to be raising a human being who is skilled. That's it. If you're raising a human being who can thrive, it simply means is skilled, because you need skills to thrive. And skills are what? Skills are achieved by the transformation of habits. So what kind of habits are you raising your child with? What kind of habits are you training your child with? What kind of habits are you training in your child? What kind of habits are you training in your child? Flow again. Let me take the flow again. So as a parent, the day your child is born, in raising that child, you must have at the back of your mind, what human being am I raising this child to become in 30 years' time? What human being am I raising this child to become in 30 years' time? How do I want this child to impact their community, impact the people in their lives, impact their world when they are 30? What do I need to train in this child for the child to become that human being that I want to raise them to become? Now, in raising, you have to understand that you need to train certain habits in that child. Now, when do you begin to train habits in your child? Right from when the child is born. So habits training begins right from when a child is born. So what habits are you What habits are you training in your children? Now, by the time your child gets off, toddler, by the time your child transitions from being a toddler to being a child, of course, on their way to being a preteen, it is essential that your child begins to learn skills. Now, what are skills? Skills are achieved through the transformation of habits. So basically, are you training habits in your children right from when they are toddlers? Are you training habits that can be transformed into skills by the time your children are preteens and children of, by the time your child is a what we term that phase where we say is a child, and then the phase where they are preteens? Have you trained habits in your toddlers that can be transformed into skills by the time they are preteens? Now, it is the habits that you train in your preteen that will help them thrive. It is the habits that you train in your preteen that will help them navigate the world as teenagers. Because as teenagers, your children will be making decisions for themselves. As teenagers, whether you like it or not, your children will begin to bear the consequences of their decisions. As teenagers, your children will begin to do things that you cannot control anymore. Oh, bad network. So I don't know what the problem is, but it looks like my network is really bad today. Oh, is it bad for everyone else, or it's just, hi, Juliet? Okay. All right, let's just go on, or maybe. All right, so as teenagers, is it bad for everyone else, or is just for some people? Sorry about this. I don't know what the problem. I don't know whether to log out and log in. Okay, so let's just can you give me feedback? Is there anything better right now? Is it better right now, or is still the same bad network? Let me know if it's the same bad network. Hi, mentor. Okay, watching from Jos. Let me see. Loud and clear. It's all good. Okay, you say it's all good. All right, so let me continue. I hear it's all good. So maybe it's your location. All right. So yes, it is the skills, right? It is the habits that you have trained in your toddler that will be transformed into skills for your preteens. And it is those skills that you train in your preteens that will be transformed into the skills or the habits that will be transformed into that which your teenager can use to thrive. Now, let's look at some of the things that we should be looking at while we are raising our preteens. Okay, let's look at some of the things that we should be looking at while we're raising our teens. Now, when you're raising your preteen and you're preparing them, so finally, I have a power cut. All right. Sorry about this. All right. So when you are preparing your teenager, your preteen for their the teenage phase of their lives, there are certain things that you must pay attention to. You are looking at emotional intelligence. It's a very, very important skill, right? By the time your children are preteens, they should start receiving intentional training in emotional intelligence. As a parent, you are intentional about your child's emotional intelligence by the time they are preteens. Other skills are spiritual intelligence, of course, the one that we all know. Okay, there are intelligence quotients. There's adversity intelligence. There is cultural intelligence. There is all of these many intelligences, right? That we should be training our children. So yes, by the time your children are preteens, it is that phase in their lives that you should be training a lot of intelligence in them. Now, if I go emotional intelligence, adversity intelligence, and all of these intelligences, it begins to sound a bit technical. So let me break it down to how we train or how we support parents in our mentor parent support program, the parents that I work with. We train children along 8 lines in the mentor parent support programs. And by the time you train your children along these 8 lines, you will be able to have covered all of these intelligences. By the time you train your children along these 8 lines, you will be able to cover all of these intelligences. And then, of course, you will be building skills in your children that by the time they are teenagers, they are able to thrive with. Now, let me run you through, these 8 areas that we help parents train their children along. And it's along these areas that we are also supporting the children in the mastermind program. So we look at their habit training, which is very key. We look at kingdom life, meaning their spirituality and ideology. We look at the academic excellence. We train children along academic excellence. We look at self-management and home management. We look at lifelong learning. We also look at financial intelligence, financial skills for children. We look at our children's interests and their talents. And lastly, we look at leadership skills. Now, as a parent, if you are focused on these 8 areas of your children's life, especially during their preteen phase, the preteen phase of their lives, if you begin to create skills, begin to create opportunities to train your children along these lines, you will realize that you are covering their emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, cultural intelligence, and all the many intelligences. You will cover that by the time you're beginning to train all of these skills in your children. So today we're going to look at just 2 of these areas, and I have good news for you. Today we're going to look at 2 of these areas, but we are coming up with a program very soon that will help us focus on how you can skill up your preteen. It's going to be a short live session that we will have every Monday, a very short 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes live session. In that live session, all we'll be doing is introducing a skill for you every week. We will just come in, introduce one skill. Remember, I asked a question in the group recently. Do you want to skill up your preteen? Do you want to skill up your preteen? If you want to skill up your preteen, then join this live session today, because we're going to announce to you in this live session today. So this live session is not even when we are skilling you up or we are helping you to skill your child up. We just wanted to talk about it generally and let you know that your preteen needs to be skilled up. Basically, your preteen needs skills, and these skills are not going to fall from heaven. They are skills that even as a toddler parent right now, you are building habits around those skills. You are building habits. Let me tell you, for instance, let me give you a few instances or examples of skills that you are building for your children when they're toddlers that can be transformed into skills when they're older, right? The same skills that if you train them in, will help them navigate the world as teenagers. And so when they can navigate the world on their own as teenagers, you realize that there is less conflict in your home with your teenager. You realize that your teenager is empowered and can begin to take all your parenting advantages that you have offered them and transform all of these parenting advantages into manifestation in productive activities and productivity. So you see, it is all interconnected, and it begins from the habits that you're training in your child right from when your child is born, right from when your child is a toddler. What habits are you training in your child? For instance, you are training the habits of reading in your child. So how do you train the habits of reading, in your child as a toddler? You read bedtime stories to your children. So you read bedtime stories to your children every day. So you're reading a story, you're reading aloud to your child, you're reading aloud to your preteen. And then you make a habit out of this. You read a bedtime story to your child every day. You read a bedtime story to your child every day, such that your 2-year-old, your 3-year-old just knows that when it is a certain time in the evening, mommy or daddy is going to read me a storybook. And so your child is looking forward to that storybook. And so your child grows and is 4 years old, and he is grabbing when that time comes automatically. You know this thing about your clock, right? When that time comes, when that time in the evening, probably after, it depends on how you program it in your home or how you program the child. It could be that, you do this after you have eaten and you have had your family time. So what you do is you just grab a book. You realize every time that activity, the time for that activity or the previous activity ends, your child will grab a book like, let's go and read. So before you know it, your 4-year-old will grab a book. Now, what skill are you developing at this stage? You are helping your child to develop, or you are helping your child to build tiny skills, or you're helping your child to start the journey towards lifelong learning. So that's routine that you have, reading consistently with your 2-year-old, with your 1-month-old, with your 8-month-old, is the same habit that is going to transform into lifelong learning. So by the time your child is a preteen, you are able to begin to train study skills in that child. So for your 7-year-old, you can now say you need to study every day. Or this is what we do with them in the mastermind. We say to them, what are your goals for this year? What do you want to achieve in the academic area? Remember, we have these 8 areas. So we say to them, in your academics, what are your goals for this term? What are your goals for this period? And the child is like, oh, I want to make all straight A's. You want to make all straight A's? Awesome. The next thing is, what habits do we have to build in this child for this child to achieve this goal that the child has visualized? So for the child to have straight A's, then the child needs to understand the importance of studying. You can't just sit down in a class and then come and have straight A's. You must know how to study. You must enjoy learning. You must be able to make effort in that area. You must be hardworking. So the moment we begin to train this skill in the child. And so we say to the children, oh, how long do you think you can read every day, sweetie? And the children come up. At this point, remember that your preteen is at that phase where they want to be independent. So independence is not only in you deciding that you want to eat pizza, you want to drink Fanta instead of Coke. Independence is in you making certain decisions that will affect you. So yes, this is the independence here. Give them options. How long do you want to read? Make the decision. It is yours. This is independence. And the child says, you know something, I want to read for 40 minutes every day. Voila. Great. Amazing. What are you trying to do? You're trying to train lifelong learning skill in your child. It is not when your child is in SS2. It is not when your child is in year 10 that you begin to scream all around the place. If you don't study, you will fail. Or no, it is when your child is 7. It is when your child is 7 that you begin to train that habit in the child, where the child can actually be out playing and he looks at his wristwatch and it is 4:30 p.m. and is able to stop that activity and then turn off to the next activity, that is to study. We are building executive functioning skill. Mental flexibility is what makes your child able to stop an activity that is not needed per time and turn to the one that is needed per time. It is a lot of control. It is a lot of mental flexibility that has to go there for your child to be able to regulate that way. So at this stage where your child is 7 and 8, that is when you are building this skill, not when they are in year 9, when they are writing junior WAEC. At that point, you begin to fidget. Not when they have to sit for SAT and when they have to sit for IGCSE or CAT or whatever. No, it is at the point where your child is a preteen, or for the purpose of this lesson or class, we are taking our preteen from 7 years old, because that's what we do at the mastermind. So at the mastermind circle, we say this to the children and they come up with 40 minutes. And so what do we do? Because you are training skill, you must bring in accountability into the system. You cannot train skills without accountability. You cannot give people independence without responsibility. So write it down. There is no independence without accountability. There is no independence without responsibility. So when people say, oh, I'm sending him so that he will go and be independent and all of that, what responsibility does he, who is he accountable to? Who is he accountable to? Now, so there are different kinds of accountability. Remember that. There is the accountability that is simply because you know that you will get into trouble. There's the accountability that is just a matter of what do you call it? A matter of rules and you not wanting to get into trouble. There is also the accountability that has to do you knowing that this is the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do, and you have reached the point where you are able to self-direct, and so you make choices to do the right thing because you are able to direct yourselves, not simply because if you don't do it, someone is going to chase you and someone is going to beat you. So that's why at the point that you're rushing and packing and shipping your children off to boarding school, saying, oh, you want them to go there so that they'll go and be responsible, simply because someone is going to make them do certain things out of duress, and your children are going to do these things because they do not want to get into certain kind of trouble. That accountability system is not complete. That independence is not complete. That's why the real independence is learned at home. It is when your children are preteens. It is when they are 7 and 8 and 9. This is when you train these habits in your children at home. So by the time your child drags his bag at 11 and is going to boarding school, he's going to boarding school as a child who has developed executive functioning skill, working memory, self-control, mental flexibility. All of this is already in place to a huge extent. Your child has taken habits that they have learned over the years, and they've transformed these habits into skills that they now have and they can now own. They have transitioned skills that they've transitioned into habits that they've transitioned into skills that they have now started getting mastery in. So no. The boarding school system does not exactly teach your child responsibility, because anything that is not coming from a place of or a sense of satisfaction, is not coming from a place of self-direction, is not coming from a place of self-initiation. You have to just do it always from external motivation. Our external motivations as parents should be, over the years, should transition until your children begin to own it, and it turns to an intrinsic motivation from being external at the beginning. Even motivation is in a spectrum. Okay, it comes from a motivation where the child is not motivated to the point where the child becomes determined. So even motivation should move in that spectrum. So yes, if you don't teach your child independence at home and you push them to school to go and learn independence, you will realize that they will not move on that spectrum to the point of self-determination, because these things are done by force, out of fear. Anything done out of fear will not last. Try it. Try it. Go and get a job. Okay, go and get a job, or go and get into a relationship because you are afraid. Go and get a job and start doing the job because you are afraid. You will realize you will never be able to give your best into it. Anything done from a place of fear is not internalized. It's not authentic, basically. All right. So very, very important that we understand this about habits and about skills, the skills that we're raising in our children. So the children, kingdom life, we go there. I said I was talking about habits. Let's stick to habits because we don't even have enough time. Okay, so what are the habits? So now your child that started off with just bedtime story is already training the habit of lifelong learning by learning how to study. Then we ask the children, what are the things you want to achieve in your academics? A's, the homework. How are you going to be doing your homework? So we begin to ask them, how are you going to achieve doing your homework? How are you going to achieve, ensuring that you are looking at every aspect of your learning? And then they begin to create timetables. So they create study timetables. We make them understand that your homework is different from your study time. So you see, a lot of the children in the mastermind these days, they do their homework in school because we have made them understand your homework is different from your study time. So the homework is your responsibility, is your teacher holding you accountable. So if you have learned, your teacher is holding you accountable to do that homework and bring it so that that homework becomes feedback for your teacher. Through the homework, your teacher is able to tell if you studied, if you understood the concept that has been taught. So that's your teacher getting accountability. That's your teacher's accountability system, with the homework. But at the mastermind, we're holding you accountable to the fact that you said you will study. So your study time is different. So what the kids do is they do their homework sometimes before they get home. They do their homework after the other kids go out to play. A lot of them will sit down and do their homework in class before they leave. So you hear them report, I did my homework in class today. I did my homework in school today. I did part of my homework in school today. We are raising children who understand skills because we understand that it is skills that will help our children thrive. It is skills that will help our children thrive. What other skills are your children building? At the mastermind, we focus on their talents and their interests. What talents do you have? What interests do you have? What do you love to do? Then it needs to be honed. For you to hone it, you must do something about it every day. You must do something about it as often as possible. So you hear the children report things like, I played chess with my brother today. I played chess with my brother today. I did coding classes for 30 minutes, for 1 hour today. I did graphics design classes for 1 hour, 2 hours today. I was able to practice on the piano for this time today. We have the children send in, sending their practice videos, to the mastermind just to encourage each other and let them know that skills are a big thing. So yet, what habits are you training in your child that can be transformed? At the mastermind, we train the children to review books. So they read books. They understudy people. Okay, you understudy people. You cannot become great in any field if you do not look at people who have gone ahead of you in that field. You must look at people who have gone ahead of you in the field or in the area of your interest. And so we teach the children the importance of understanding people in their field or understanding people who have values, who have virtues in the area of your interest, or who have virtues that are important in your life as a young person. So they do this and they have conversation about these people, the values, the virtues of these people. They review books that they read. They read different genres, but they review the books that they read. What are we doing? We're building leadership skills in these children. So it starts from the habit of reading and reviewing the book. What do you call it? Your toddler is reading a book and you tell your toddler to show and tell. What did you read in that book? All right, tell mommy, who is your best character? Why do you like this character? What did the character do? Teach your children to infer. Okay, what do you think? If Nanny had done this, do you think this would have happened? Your child is reviewing character, understanding characters. And so your toddler who is beginning to understand character is now a preteen and is in the mastermind. In the mastermind, he's understanding icons. In the mastermind, he's reviewing his book. He's talking about the character and he's talking about the book and reviewing the book and all of that. Your child is already learning about people. The child is already connecting characters. Your child is already building social skills. Your child is already understanding people. He is building leadership skills. We are building skills, and skills should be built when your children are preteens. That is the point where you begin to build skills in your children. All right, so I said I was not going to, so basically this session was just to tell you that there are a lot of skills that we need to train in our preteens, a lot of skills, and I'm going to be giving you these skills in our session that we are introducing. It's called the Skill Up for Preteen live session. We will have those sessions on Mondays. I think it's going to be at 1 p.m. on Monday. Very short session, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. What are we doing in that session? We are dishing out a skill every week. So you can take that skill, go home and begin to implement that skill for that week. It's not going to be bogus or ambiguous. It's going to be straightforward. This is the skill. These are the tools. These are the strategies that you can use. Go home and apply. Then you go home and you apply. Now, if you want real accountability for your children beyond just skills, you want accountability, you want them to challenge themselves in the presence of other children. We have children from 7 different countries. We have children from Cameroon, from Ghana, from Canada, America, the UAE, Nigeria, the UK. Yeah. We have children from all of this country in the mastermind. We have children from across 10 states or more states in Nigeria. We have all these children in the mastermind. So you want your children to be with like minds and begin to have conversations with like minds, begin to interact with like minds, begin to see that, hey, you may be in America, but you are not so different from the child in Ghana. You're not so different from the child in Nigeria. Your child in Ghana, you're not so different from the child in the UK. We have the same challenges. We have the same successes. We have the same, basically, you want your children to begin to have platforms like this that they can interact, platforms like these where they can connect with other people, platforms like these where they can, they can help each other grow, basically. This is what the mastermind offers. So if you have a preteen, please, they're supposed to be learning skills. If you have a preteen, they need accountability beyond you. Except you are Alpha and Omega and you can do everything on your own. Then well done. Okay? If you have a preteen, they need accountability. They need peer influences, and of course, not need peer influences. They must have peer influences, negative or positive. So why don't you put them in environments where the peer influence will be positive? Where your child comes and is struggling with sending in his report, and he sees that another child his age is actually sending in their report every week, and the child is like, something, if others can do it, I can do it. And the good thing about the mastermind, there is no shaming. We have zero tolerance for shaming. So even if you can achieve only one goal, you will still get praise. You will still get acknowledged for that one goal, and you will be encouraged to do better the next day. We call a spade, but in the most beautiful way. Hey, honey, amazing. I can see that you put effort into 2 of your goals today. Well done. You should be proud of yourself. I'm looking forward to you, reading a book tomorrow. Can you do this? This is how we encourage your children. And then when we don't find them, we look for them. When the parents say they are struggling with them, we put a call through and we have conversations with the children directly. So it comes with some bit of mentorship also, even from the matron. And in the mastermind, I'm just the matron. I don't lead the meeting. I don't direct the meeting. I don't anchor the meeting. I am just a participant like every other partner in the mastermind. The children do their thing. It's such an amazing place to have your child. And if you're thinking of reading habits, your children do not have, I've told you, reading habits, that habit is how lifelong learning is cultivated. Is where leadership begins from. That's the seed of leadership. That's the seed of lifelong learning. So yes, if your toddler is not being introduced to reading already, something is wrong. You rush and go and get our bonus, our independence bonus. We have a 20-day back-to-back activity, fun activities that you can use to help initiate the love for reading in your child, even if that child is 2 months old. You can begin right there with them using these activities. It's just 1,000 naira for that particular guide, and then we have three other guides, four of them that are relevant in different. One of them will help you create the right environment in your home. All of them are relevant, but you can pick the one that you want per time or take all of them, basically. All right, so that is it. That's the size. I just want to talk about this and let you know about the skill up, the skill up live sessions that begins on Monday. So set your alarm, clear your schedule for that time. 30 minutes, we give you the skill, you take them and you begin to work on them with your children. I'm so sorry that the network was bad today. I'm so sorry that I don't know how bad or how really, really bad this is. But hey, I hope we got value from this session. I hope it wasn't bad enough for us not to get value at all. If you would like any of this, if you want to be a part of the mastermind, you want your children 7 to 13 years to be a part of the mastermind. We've been getting a lot of people coming in and inquiring and all of that in the last couple of days. So if you want to be a part of it, please just reach out. We are closing for this term. We're closing on the 14th of October. After the 14th of October, we won't take any more kids into the mastermind till the end of the year. But next month, we will open the waiting list for next year. And so you can register for your children to join us at the beginning of the new year. So that's open also. But if you want them to jump in right away and begin to build that journey, then you need to do that before the 14th of this month. Thank you very much for everyone who joined. Let us know in the comments if you got value. Thank you. I see you, Mary Bowman. I see you, Christabel, Lola, Juliet, Facebook users, Christabel, Chidima. Thank you, everyone who has joined us for this session. We do not take it for granted. Sorry about the network and all of that. Do have a pleasant rest of the day. My name is Maribeth Chima, the founder of the Parenting Mentorship Academy, and I'm signing out. Have a blessed day.